years. Matt is a former decorated Navy fighter pilot with the call sign Wiz, and has become an accomplished options trader who helped run one of the largest Wall Street options trading firms in the world. He is currently the CEO of Top Gun Options, and we're happy to have him here. He's going to be talking about trading the Death Star, why diversifying your investments just might be a mistake, the risks and the benefits of trading a solo stock, and how to go and use laser-focused strategies for maximizing your profits. And with that, I'm going to stop my screen share and say, hi, Matt. Great to have you here this afternoon. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Raleigh. How are you?
I'm doing just super, just super. We're delighted to have you here. And once again, the screen is yours.
Okay. Let me share it and make sure everybody can see my slides. How about now?
Yes, we've got you, buddy. You might want to put it in presentation mode. Perfect. Okay,
we're all set. About an hour, right, Raleigh?
Yes, you got an hour, Matt. Have fun. Take care, buddy.
Okay. All right, folks, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I guess it depends on where you're joining us. Taking a look in the chat box, it looks like we got folks joining us from literally around the globe. So welcome aboard. As Raleigh said, I'm going to be talking about trading the Death Star. And if you're sitting there looking at your screen going, I didn't know that Death Star was a publicly traded company. Well, you do now, because if you're a Star Wars nerd, like my kids, or I guess even me, you know the story of the Death Star. This thing was essentially unstoppable, and then it got stopped, or we thought it got stopped, right? Got blown up, and then rebuilt, and then it literally did end up, or is taking over the universe. That's the stock we're going to trade today. The only stock you need to own in your portfolio. And I know that's going to be very, very surprising to you, but folks, you can probably figure out what stock I'm going to talk about because I took these screenshots this week. We do our solo Amazon brief every Monday at 2. I took these screenshots Monday afternoon at 2. Look at Bill. Amazon, synthetic stock, 4 contracts to Jan 2021, 3 to 2022. His profit and loss on Monday was $62,000. His open P&L, total profit, almost $900,000. This was also, I mean, this is just, it's insane. So I'm not going to ripple through that. I'm just going to get airborne here because Amazon's just been out of control. The math is insane, and we're going to get into that. As Raleigh said, former Navy fighter pilot, so I'm going to ask you a flying question right off the bat. I'm going to give you 2 choices. Which fighter aircraft would you rather fly? Here's your first choice. That's choice A, folks. That's an F4 Phantom. Look at the cockpit, folks. A lot of what we call steam gauges, right? You could just, not even knowing anything about aviation, looking in that cockpit, it probably gives you agita. It's a little confusing, right? Over 300 switches and dials in this cockpit. The pilot would spend a lot of time what we call heads down, looking at this stuff instead of heads out, looking for enemy aircraft, surface-to-air missiles, or AAA, anti-aircraft artillery. This aircraft was so workload intensive, they threw another dude in it. This is a 2-seater. They actually had a guy in back who ran the radar, folks. So would you rather fly this or that? Now, you don't even have to type your answer. I know the answer. Folks, 2 flat panel displays. There is not one steam gauge in this cockpit. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the F35 Lightning, the Joint Strike Fighter. It is absolute insanity. First of all, it can't be seen by anything on this planet. No advanced radar system can see it. About a month ago, you probably didn't see it in the news since our country's imploding, but on the news, mysterious explosions happened for about 2 weeks straight at Iran's nuclear facilities, some weapons depots, and some other places. Those were Israeli F-35s, folks. They flew right in, did their work, and went home. Nobody saw them. We call it the Wonder Woman jet, right? Because the pilot, when the pilot in this aircraft looks down, he doesn't see his legs or his feet. He sees through the floor, right? The helmet, he actually does look like Darth Vader in this aircraft. You look up, there's surface-to-air missile threats. If there's an enemy missile site out there on the horizon, the jet will put a big bubble around it, like big red, do not enter. It's insane. This jet is so smart, folks, it limits the amount of information that it displays to the pilot at different portions of the flight. Unlike the F4, where everything's there all the time, this jet is smart enough to go, you know what? She or he really doesn't need to know this right now, so we're going to keep it from them. The answer is clear, ladies and gentlemen. You would rather fly the F-35. I would too. Hopefully my two sons are going to end up flying that for the Marine Corps and the Navy. So let's go ahead and get airborne. You've never heard what I'm about to tell you, or most of you haven't, right? But at the end of this brief, I'm going to give you an up-to-date intelligence brief, right? I just don't jump in and start to talk about trading. You got to have situational awareness as to what's going on, man. Overseas, domestically, all over the place. I'm going to show you the only stock you need to own, and in case it's a little pricey for you, a good substitute that we use instead to trade the Death Star. As Raleigh said, my name's Matthew Buckley, folks. Last time I checked, my parents loved me. They didn't name me Wiz. I earned that call sign flying the FA-18 Hornet for the United States Navy for about 15 years. Graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School, which many of you know as Top Gun, and did some combat sorties over Iraq. What's this have to do with trading? Absolutely everything. When I was, first of all, folks, you don't join the Navy to become rich. You join the Navy to serve your country and to do good things, right? But I was always interested in finance. I got commissioned as an ensign in the United States Navy in 1991. I remember driving down to Naval Air Station Key West and sending $50, $25, whatever it was, to USAA, and I bought my first mutual fund, right? So what happened? As I went through my naval career, I started applying everything that I was learning flying a fighter aircraft, being disciplined, managing risk, contingency planning, knowing when to get out of a bad or good situation before it got worse, sticking to a checklist, not being emotional and making decisions. That worked so well that I ended up popping up on the radar of one of the largest volatility arbitrage firms in the world, headquartered right there in the beautiful Chicago Board of Trade. That's the intersection of Jackson and LaSalle, and that was our trading firm right there, those big, beautiful windows, fourth, fifth floor of the CBOT. I had a blast. I helped build a hedge fund when I was there. I helped build the retail brokerage options house when I was there, and it was awesome. But I jokingly tell people that I felt like Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. I mean, little old retail trader going to the big leagues. Hey man, that's the smart money. Well, folks, after about 4 years in Chicago, I figured out the smart money ain't that smart necessarily. And as a matter of fact, I was a hell of a lot smarter in many areas than they were. Folks, Wall Street hedge fund managers and family office, they put their pants or their skirt on one leg or both legs at a time. They're not special, folks. I was one of the only financial professionals on the planet to predict the COVID crash on January 22nd in a live trade brief. Donald Trump was sitting on CNBC in Davos lying to, what's his name, Joe Kiernan. I trust Xi, coronavirus. Why are you even asking me about this? It's not coming to America. Huge. I got it under control. I trust Xi. Everything's fine. I looked into the camera on my laptop and told my members to get in the cash immediately, to get long volatility and buy puts on the S&P 500. The market imploded. We made millionaires. So the smart money and most of the smart money folks missed the turn at the bottom, right? They kept telling people to buy on the way down as the COVID crash happened. Buy, oh, I'd nibble here. Oh, this is the bottom, buy. They were lying. And then when it turned at the bottom, I got that within 0.02 seconds. How? It was a weekly jobless number that was like 6 million. And within seconds of them reporting that number, Jerome Powell dropped financial nuclear weapons into the market. And I never looked back. I'm like, done, being bearish. It's the market's only going to go. So while I was up in Chicago, managing director of strategy, I was also the founder and CEO of the Options News Network, ONN TV. We were essentially the CNBC for options. I know John and Pete really well from my time in Chicago. They do a semi-decent job on CNBC trying to talk about options. But guess what? That's not what CNBC is about. So we were essentially the CNBC for options, and I had a blast. In my spare time, I work with a couple charities. The Broward Sheriff's Advisory Council. What's going on in this country towards law enforcement is a disgrace. So I'm going to back the blue. Lost a sister to a drunk driver when she was 19 in college. So I'm on the board of directors of MAD. And then I just recently started my own foundation called the Top Gun Fighter Foundation to try and fight and prevent veteran suicide. When I tell you this number, you're going to be shocked. 22 veterans kill themselves every day. It's essentially 1 an hour. We have 60,000 homeless vets. Don't get me started about what's going on in this country with, hey, let's just give 11 million illegal immigrants health care. We can't even take care of our vets, folks. Not going to rant. I'm just telling you, I'm one of the guys that's trying to put the ladder down and help folks out. All right, let's go. This is going to be really cool because many of you have never heard what I'm about to tell you. And this might shock you, or it probably won't. It's going to be shocking, but it's not. You ready? Wall Street's lying to you. No kidding, Wiz. No, but I mean, really, this has been the biggest lie since you ever started investing. What is it? Don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? How many of you, it's been beaten into your skull, right? Diversification is important. You must diversify. Diversify. They hit you with a flamethrower of diversification, right? Who does? That dude. Ladies and gentlemen, these dudes and ladies want to put you in as many names as possible. You know why? Commissions, order flow. The more you trade, the more names you're in, the more money they make. It's a disgrace. If you've seen the movie Wall Street or what, Boiler Room or Wolf of Wall Street, you've seen that. The guy comes out in the morning, all right, fellas, open your phone books. Let's call the little old ladies in tennis shoes and rotate them out of this stock and put her in this one. Okay, hi, Mrs. Smith. No, I know I told you to get into this one yesterday, but this one's a real winner. They're lying. They wanted you to trade like crazy. They want you to have a bunch of different positions. I'm going to tell you this in a whiz way, and then somebody smarter than me will tell you his way. Diversification is for people who don't know what they're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, of course you're going to be in a bunch of different names because you're lost. Well, maybe this one will be lucky and maybe wrong. Warren Buffett. Diversification is protection against ignorance. It makes very little sense for those who know what they are doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you're probably diversified. If you do, you're not. And that's going to break a lot of Wall Street brokers' hearts because you're going to simplify your trading cockpit with this. Amazon. This is the only stock you need to own for the rest of your life. And I'm not being facetious, folks. It's over with for everything else. I'm a picture guy. This isn't, I haven't even updated this since the last earnings period. Look at the annual revenue growth. Amazon's annual revenue growth is at a minimum of 30. Their last earnings, folks, I stopped reading. I'm like, the math doesn't work. They made like, they make like $100,000 a second. It's insane, right? Now, some of you, might be sitting there like, that's nuts. Well, it isn't. David, 51 grand. Jim, solo Amazon, made 300% on my first trade in a week. Look at this one, Dennis, Wiz. This just keeps getting better. My Amazon synthetic call for the June 21 expiration and opened on the first day of solo Amazon is now a whopping 100 grand on one contract. I wouldn't believe it, but I just checked and I do have a pulse. Sam, sold Amazon 3,000 calls too early last week at 122, but still made $80,000. Now, before I sit here and just tell you the absolute benefits that you have to be in Amazon, we got to talk about the threats. As a trader pilot, as an options trader, man, I want to know how I'm going to get killed or shot down. Well, let's talk about the risks to just trading a solo stock, just one name. Anybody ever hear of Lehman Brothers? Anybody ever hear of Bear Stearns? Jim Cramer heard about Bear Stearns at 70 bucks or 67 bucks at the height of the financial crisis. He's like, you're an idiot. If you don't own Bear, it's a steal here at 70. 2 days later, it's at 0. Anybody remember Pets.com, Enron? Folks, I could sit here for the next day and walk you around the graveyard of stocks that have gone to 0. But if you're smart, you probably recognize a common theme among all of the names I just listed. They didn't own a thing. Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, you know what they owned? Paper, nothing. I don't even think they owned the sign that they took off. Well, Pets.com, a stinky sock and a domain name. Enron, they were a middleman of electricity. They didn't even own the building they were in. They didn't own anything. Folks, Amazon owns everything. You ever seen an Amazon fulfillment center? It's like an aircraft carrier. Full disclosure, I flew for FedEx for about 10 months. In my early 30s, I was miserable. I hated it. I hated showing up at midnight in Memphis and flying till 8 in the morning and trying to sleep during the day. But anyway, I had a buddy when I left FedEx. We stayed friends. He's in corporate. He called me 5-6 years ago and he said, Wiz, dude, I just saw a buddy of mine at GE Aircraft Leasing. Jeff Bezos is leasing 5 airplanes. I'm like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to build his own Amazon, FedEx, UPS, and US Postal. Anybody ever hear of AWS, Amazon Web Services? AWS is essentially the size of Microsoft. Okay, so we have Amazon Air, we have AWS, we have clearly just Amazon. About a month ago, 2 months ago, they patented, copyrighted Amazon Pharmacy. Here's a prediction, 2 to 3 years, I'll say 3 years so I can be right because it'll probably happen sooner. There will be no Walgreens or CVS. You will get your prescriptions delivered to you by Amazon. And how are they going to come? By drone. Folks, I can't even, I'm not going to sit here all day but folks, Amazon owns stuff. It doesn't own air. And we'll talk about other potential risks in a second because I very good questions going on. There's a risk. About 3 years ago, folks, Donald Trump woke up, or he didn't go to bed, depends on who you believe, grabbed his phone and started taking a flamethrower to Jeff Bezos, the Washington Post, and Amazon. Amazon screwing the post office. They're taxpayers, and we're paying for Amazon. Somebody needs to shut them down. You know what the stock did? It freaked out for a little bit and then kind of looked around like, he's not going to do anything, right? So is he a threat? He did it recently, like 2-3 months ago. He did the same thing. Postal Service is getting destroyed by Amazon, blah, 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 blah. Well, there's other potential issues as well, right? Is it a monopoly? More or less, yeah. Okay. Now, if you're sitting there going, Wiz, I hear that the FTC or the DOJ or whatever alphabet agency soup you want to throw in there is thinking about breaking up Amazon. If you're a student of history in markets like I am, you've heard of Standard Oil. You've heard of IBM, you've heard of Microsoft, you've heard of AT&T. Folks, any time Uncle Sammy jumps in to try and break up a company, I think the soonest they got a decision was 5 years, and like Microsoft, whatever one of them was like 15 years it took the FTC to come up with something. And Jeff Bezos has more money than God. Do you think he's going to let his phalanx of attorneys let that happen? But even if it did, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. If they broke up Amazon tomorrow, the fastest breakup ever, they would create 5 little mini monopolies in the spaces they broke up. Amazon Air will be bigger than FedEx and UPS. They're having drones come to your house. AWS, Amazon Web Services, is going to eclipse Microsoft. So folks, it's funny. Well, Amazon is huge. It's a monopoly. We should break it up. Okay, well, if you break it up, you're going to make it even worse. So it's fantastic. Now, I jokingly, or not really, I tell people at Top Gun Options, I wear 2 suits, right? I wear a flight suit. I'm going to tell you how I feel about things as American. I can't stand that, you know, that I remember at the height of the COVID crisis, 300 people like in a New York fulfillment center went on strike because they didn't have PPE. I mean, Jeff Bezos can find enough money in his couch to buy every face mask on the planet, and his workers were working without any personal protection. And so I'll tell you how I feel as American. I think it's a disgrace. And then I'm going to put on my Armani $10,000 suit and be Gordon Gekko and go, I don't care. Fire those 300 people for complaining and hire other people at lower wages because there's a lot of people out of work. So I'm a little bipolar at Top Gun. I'll tell you how I feel. Folks, sometimes I call things a hold your nose trade, but I'll use a Gordon Gekko line from the movie. You want a friend, get a dog. I'm here to teach you how to make money. Okay, I have a conscience, trust me. I've served this country for 15 years. I'm in tears about what's going on with this country right now. But at the end of the day, I'm going to print money either off other people's stupidity or just in general, okay? So what are the benefits to just trading a solo stock? Well, you're trading the same name, folks, and you potentially profit no matter what direction, in this case, Amazon goes, up, down, or sideways. You stay focused on the news and events that impact what? That name, Amazon. Instead of a ton of stocks and ETFs, you become an expert in Amazon, reducing time spent on all your other positions. I have a buddy he's been an Apple market maker for like a quarter of a century, 25 years. I'm not joking when I tell you he doesn't know a stock market exists. He doesn't know what the VIX is. He doesn't know S&P. He doesn't care. He eats, breathes, and sleeps all things Apple. He doesn't care about anything else. And his life is a hell of a lot better. But I love using this guy as an example. He's a good buddy of mine now, but about a year ago, down here in Boca Raton, Florida, down here in God's waiting room, one of my members, a doctor, orthopedic surgeon, hey, Wiz, I need help. You got to help me. Okay, doc, I'll meet you at Starbucks. We meet at Starbucks. He boots up his computer and, you know, after he logs into his brokerage platform, he slides, turns the computer around. Thank God he was a doctor because I like passed out and hit my head. You ready for this? 33 positions. This is a doctor, 8, 10, 12-hour days, surgeries, office hours, a wife, and actually an ex-wife, a kid. I mean, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, before I could even just say, close your laptop, he tried to explain things. Well, I think this one's a pot stock. Yeah, I don't know what that is. This one, oh, it's just awful. I'm getting destroyed. I'm going to, listen to this. I'm going to wait for it to come back and then I'll sell it. I didn't let him get 3 names into his list of 33 before I said, stop talking. You're done. Ladies and gentlemen, I do this for a living. I manage 4 portfolios at Top Gun and my personal trading accounts. 5 to 10 positions. I do it for a living, and that's a lot. I guarantee you there's some doctors in this room right now, like my doctor buddy, who are flying. Your brokerage platform looks like this. You're nuts. You're absolutely nuts. This is how your brokerage platform should look. Okay? So if you're sitting there going, all right, Wiz, I love what you're saying, but it just still, I'm hardwired to diversify. They got me early, man. It's wired into my brain with investing. I have to diversify, period. Check this out. In our solo Amazon service, we also trade XLY. Why? Folks, this is the consumer discretionary. This is an ETF. Amazon's what, a $3,500 stock? XLY is what, a $130 ETF. Why would you trade XLY? Because folks, it's a good proxy for Amazon. Look at the top. What is the top holding in this ETF? Amazon, baby. a quarter of this ETF is Amazon. Okay, we'll look at a chart in a couple seconds here. Amazon's blowing away the XLY, but if you can't afford to be trading Amazon right now, we have a ton of people who get into the service and kind of make some nice base hits with XLY, make enough money, and then kind of graduate over to Amazon. So there's your diversification. Home Depot, McDonald's, Nike, Starbucks, Lowe's, Bookings, TJX, Target, GM. There's your diversification. So how do we target Amazon and XLY to make money? Well, folks, this is easy. Step one, when you join, I'm going to teach you how to establish what I call a base position, a beachhead, right? We can hop in that F35, that Joint Strike Fighter, fly the speed of light, but we can fly the speed of light. We can actually, in options land, go 2-3 years out into the future, right? So I'm going to show you how to do what we call synthetic stock with options. You're not going to own one share of Amazon. First of all, you need to be a multimillionaire, but second of all, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? I'm going to teach you how to establish a future bullish position in Amazon. Folks, I got to admit, I got this wrong on Amazon. Last year, when Amazon was like $1,400 or whatever it was, I said Amazon will be $3,000 by my birthday next year. Subtle plug, my birthday is New Year's Eve. I got it, I was wrong. What do you mean? It hit 3,000 last month, so I was off by 4 months. My price target for Chris, or my birthday of this year, 4,000. Amazon will be at 4,000 by December 31st, and I might be on the conservative side. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to establish that base position, that beachhead. But in a couple minutes, I'm also going to tell you why I'm not going to do that right now. And I'll tell you. Step two, after we have a base position, which we're not going to do because I'm going to tell you why, we trade the front months. Now, if you're new to options, you're probably sitting there going, what the hell's the front month? Well, you're sitting in the front month. What is it? Oh my God, September. September, October, November, those are the front months. So if Amazon or XLY are going up, what do? We trade bullish spreads, maybe buy some calls. Yep. What if it's going down? Oh no, it will. Bearish spreads, sell some front month calls. Well, what if it's just moving sideways, Liz? We kind of leveled out and we're hanging. Sweet. When we're hanging in an options trade, we use a tactic called an iron condor, which makes money if something's just kind of going sideways. Okay? So now let's go over to the brokerage platform. Close that. Yeah, you bet. I'll be taking questions closer to the end because I want to keep Morelli and their team on timeline. But let me open my brokerage platform since it just timed out. All right, solo Amazon. Let me open this up. Yeah, well, folks, Amazon, Amazon, Apple. Yeah, I call them the Fagums. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft. I can't stand Google. I can't stand Facebook. I don't trade them. But this, all right, let me resume my sharing. All right, so here we go. This is our solo Amazon portfolio here at Top Gun Options. Here's our year-to-date performance. It's up $121,000. Let's talk about the bad. I had a couple losing trades in XLY. You know when I had those? I'll tell you exactly when I had those. Everybody remember as the market imploded? Here we are in like March. We did this, and then another leg. I said we were going to do a W. Down, up, down. And this was that weekly jobless number, 6 million. And I'm like, oh, we're going to implode. After they released that 6 million number, Jerome Powell dropped all the financial nukes and the market never looked back. So I lost a couple XLY trades because I thought it was going to implode. I got that wrong. So I got this right to the day I predicted the market implosion. To the within 0.02 seconds of a press release, I got bullish. So, but I'm always going to show you got to show the losses too, man. You just don't sit here and say, I'm fantastic. No, man, I missed that. Okay. Now, I gave a little bit of foreshadowing here when I said, I'm not going to give you a base position. Let me show you my current base positions in this portfolio. I have what is called synthetic stock. out to October. It is currently up $46,000. Well, it's a 95% return right now. Earlier today, before I hopped on the webinar, I bought 5 more Amazon, 5 shares of Amazon. Why? Because it's on a rip your face off rally. I also have synthetic stock out to September in XLY. Now, let's see who's kind of paying attention to what's going on in, let's just say, this country. Or, you know, let me go back to here and show you, just to prove. So let's bring up the Amazon options chain. See along the top here? These are the dates of expiration. I told you we could hop into our jet. Look at this. We could fly out to the future 653 days. Okay, I'm going to write this down. Write down the date and time that I said this. By June of 2022, Amazon will be a $6,000 stock. Oh, it'll probably split. Then you don't know Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos has said, I will never split the stock. Okay, and some of you might be sitting here wondering like, well, what the hell is synthetic stock? I don't know what it means. Well, let me just break down the word, folks. Synthetic stock means you don't own the shares, right? So what do you not get if you don't own the shares? Well, you don't get to vote. If you're a shareholder, you get to vote, which is comical with Amazon, because do you think Jeff Bezos and his ex-wife are going to give you enough voting shares to do anything? You're not even, as a retail trader, you're not even a rounding, or you're a decimal point. So whenever I own stock in my life and I get like a thing in the mail, like vote for your board, I just put it in the recycling bin. So you don't get to vote with synthetic stock because you're not a shareholder. But check this out. You also don't get a dividend if you're using synthetic stock. Guess what? Jeff Bezos literally has said dividends are stupid. He's like, why would I, quote, give money back to the shareholders? He's like, if I make a penny this quarter, I'm taking that penny and going and buying something or innovating. That's fantastic. If you're old and cranky like me, I need a stock with a good dividend. Go somewhere else. I'd rather have a CEO who takes every penny in profit and does something with it. So that's synthetic stock, folks. You just don't get the vote and you don't get a dividend, and I don't care about either one of those things. But real quick, synthetic stock is created by buying a call. If you know, if just a little bit about options, you know, I get it. If I buy a call, I'm bullish. You got it. Well, if you sell a put, you're also bullish. So if you buy a call and sell a put with the same expiration, October, and same strike, 30/20, you get synthetic stock. Now, folks, I never went flying over Iraq, or I never went flying in a tactical military fighter aircraft without an ejection seat. I never went out to the jet and said, hey, Chief, pull the ejection seat out, man. I'm not going to die today. Clearly, I'm not. Put an extra 800 pounds of gas in there. That's the day I would have gotten killed. So I put on what is called a disaster put underneath my synthetic stock. It's my ejection seat. It's my little safety net. Okay? So that's how we create synthetic stock. But now I'm going to tell you this. Does anybody notice that my, quote, current base positions end in September and October? Unless you've been living on the other side of Mars for the past, well, 3 years, but let's just call it 6 months. Folks, right here is an election. I draw to my members, this is a wall right here. This market, ladies and gentlemen, has to get past November 4th. You know what's going to happen on November 4th? Absolute insanity. What do you mean, Wiz? Let me give you some headlines, folks. U.S. election priced as worst risk event in VIX futures history. Did you see Hillary Clinton last week, 2 weeks ago? Joe Biden should not concede on election night, ever. Does anybody see Joe Biden? If Donald Trump wins an electoral college blowout, do you see Joe Biden going, that was a good campaign, Donald, you won fair and square, let's unite America? Nope. Does anybody see Donald Trump November 4th or the night of November 3rd going, if he gets blown out, you know what, Joe, congrats, Mr. President-elect. I'm going to work with you on a smooth transition. I'm choking when I'm saying that because it's just physically not going to happen. You know, volatility markets brace for election drama like never seen before. You ready for this one? Traders brace for haywire markets around presidential election, betting on a wave of market volatility straight through the inauguration. Folks, I'm talking to people smarter than me that says, Wiz, we might not know who the, we'll know, but they're not good. We might not know who the president-elect is by election day. I'm dusting off my old copies of the Constitution and all sorts of stuff. I think Nancy Pelosi becomes interim president. I mean, you don't even want to get me started on that lady. So why am I rambling about politics? Folks, because there's a wall here. When this happens, that's going to happen. Markets, folks, do not like uncertainty. I'll see you in court, Mr. President. I'll see you in court, former Vice President. Oh boy. Volatility is going to go through the roof and the market's going to implode. I guarantee it. So that's why, folks, I am not flying all the way into the future to get bullish on Amazon. But I will say this. Let's go election here. And then guess what's going to happen? Even if Joe Biden wins, folks, and we have Secretary of the Treasury Elizabeth Warren. Oh, my God. 9/11, the 2000 internet bubble, the financial crisis of 2008. I was a senior in high school during the 1987 market crash. Why am I rambling about these things? Because we recover. We're America, damn it. We recover. So even if we have this, whoa, holy crap, okay, now it's over with. Now the markets go up over time. Okay, that's why I'm saying Amazon will be $6,000 in a couple years, period. But why would you get into a bullish position on Amazon now up here at $3,500 when maybe you can get into it at $3,000? Okay, so I'm going to keep my powder dry, but I'm still going to do some front month trades, bull put spreads, call spreads, or whatever, up until election. Does that make sense? Okay. So in a normal world, I would tell you, hey, welcome aboard. I'm going to do a base position thing. So I'm not going to do that now. Okay. So it's just, there's two, and look at this rally, folks. First of all, this right here is insane. I haven't seen a stretch like this in a long time, uninterrupted. This was a little rough. This was blue collar and, but then, I will tell you this market is way over its ski tips. I will tell you that I believe that the risk of an uncertain election outcome is not priced in right now. So, very long rambling answer to why when you look at my solo Amazon portfolio, I got a wall. I did these out. If you're a student of history like I am, you've all heard this term, haven't you? October surprise, right? Haven't we all heard that term? It is a race, ladies and gentlemen, between Donald Trump. Oh, look at this. Right on the top of the Drudge Report right now. Trump vaccine by 1 November. And of course, the media and the liberals and Democrats are immediately calling it fake. There we go. So I'm telling you, between now and election day, I use the acronym DRINK. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. DRINC. Between now and election, the Democrats, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and China are going to do everything in their power to get Donald Trump out of office. Donald Trump is going to do everything in his power to get a vaccine. So with all of that uncertainty, right? There's nobody in this room, ladies and gentlemen, who is allowed. Anybody trade with a broker that lets you trade off the left side of a chart? No. I'm going to teach you at Top Gun Options. This is where we make our money, folks. Out in this white area, we have to project our thoughts forward in space and time. That's where we make our money, folks. And if you project your thoughts forward in space and time, and you get to election day and go, I don't know who this whiz guy is, but he's a complete moron. The market's just going to keep going up. Then by all means, knock yourself out. Buy Amazon right now with both hands, and God bless you. There's a couple times in Top Gun Options history, we've been in business 10 years. There's many a time, not many, but there's been several times where I've said, you know what? I want to be wrong. I will go to our next in-person. I did. It was fall of 2017. Everybody remember? Donald Trump's going to get us all killed. Nuclear war with North Korea. Rah! There was 3 carrier strike groups in the Pacific. The last time we had like 3 carrier strike groups in the Pacific was the Battle of Midway, for God's sake. Where were they? Off the coast of Korea. Some of my little birdie friends that work in big 5-sided buildings told me, dude, he's serious. So Donald Trump was going to attack North Korea. And then he found out like millions would die. Then what was he told? We can just kill that dude. Allegedly, maybe it'll come out in the book soon enough. I guess he sent a picture of, cream of some young guy with a bullseye on his head taken from a Predator drone. Like, you know what? I'm not going to attack North Korea. I'm just going to kill you. And the guy came to the negotiating table. Why am I rambling about this? Because I, in that October, went to cash, got long volatility, and puts on the S&P 500. And I told my members, I'm like, I want to be wrong about this. My God, attack North Korea, millions dead. Market's going to implode. We're pretty damn close. I was wrong. We went out to Lake Tahoe. We did an in-person Top Gun Options event. I bought everybody a bottle of Camus. I'm like, I love being wrong. So I will love being wrong now or in November. If everything's super fantastic, I don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, missing out. Wiz, you got out here, and it kept going. I don't mind missing out on that. I don't mind sitting on my couch with popcorn watching this thing go. Because if it does keep doing that, I'll jump right back in. So right now, folks, that's what I'm telling you. I will not put on a base position. However, we will definitely trade the front months, right? Bull put spreads. I mean, hell, last week, let me bring up, men lie, numbers don't. Let me show you our solo Amazon, some of our solo Amazon trades. Content, solo Amazon, solo Amazon. I think last week it was like a $4,000 or $5,000 profit on one of our trades. Oh, this week, on Monday at 2 o'clock, I did new synthetic stock on XLY. Out to where? October. Here you go. Look at this. The week before, this was a week and a half ago, folks, I did a bull put spread on Amazon. 32.25 bull put spread. Amazon's at $3,500 today. Jeez. The good old days. When was that? A week ago. Yeah, look at this. It made a max profit of 46.50. Nice. So here's, yeah, you bet, because I want to be able to answer some questions here. Let me introduce you to this. It's a blast. Folks, this is called Solo Amazon. It's our newest live trading service here at Top Gun Options. We have other services. I have a retirement portfolio, weekly options. I trade different portfolios, but this has become our biggest portfolio. Our other services are about $167 a month. Why? Because I do a lot of work in them. How about this one? I'm just trading Amazon and XLY, so it's only $97 a month. Okay? I call it my mafia dinner. I have my mafia dinner down in Fort Lauderdale tonight. It's like there's a couple judges, cops, business owners. I guarantee you the bottle of wine I get tonight is probably going to be pretty nice. For the price of a nice bottle of wine or even the whole dinner, you can get access to Solo Amazon. That's it, $97 a month. There's the URL. I'll take you to the page in a second here. Year-to-date performance isn't updated. I forgot to add it. I just showed it to you. We're up 121 grand, not 109. So I have to change this slide. Wiz, every Monday at 2 o'clock, I work. Okay, well, great. 80% of our members work, and they can't attend the brief live. Guess what I do? I send out time-sensitive text and email alerts. right? Either before the brief, during, whenever I see the trade, I blast it out. Sometimes it's before the brief, sometimes it's in it, and sometimes it's after, right? Here's a screenshot of a recent text alert on XLY. So that fires, and then what, the same second, sometimes the email gets to me quicker than the text. The same time, an email fires with a screenshot of the trade and a screen